Joel Osteen, who is well known for his sermons, grin, and message of hope, recently received some heartbreaking news. His journey has taken an unexpected and emotional turn, going from leading one of the largest churches in the world to experiencing personal grief. What actually took place in the background, and why is he suddenly back in the spotlight? The reality will astound you, so pay attention. One of the most well-known preachers in the world is Joel Osteen. His televised sermons and upbeat, positive teachings have helped him gain a global following as the leader of Houston, Texas's Lakewood Church. With millions of viewers every week and multiple best-selling books under his belt, Osteen has come to represent faith and hope for many people. His teachings frequently center on the strength of faith, personal development, and perseverance in the face of adversity. He has maintained a controversy-free public image for the majority of his career, and he is well known for his wide smile, encouraging tone, and calm manner. However, Osteen's name started to garner media attention in early 2024 for reasons that went much beyond his typical inspirational message. On February 11, 2024, a very concerning incident occurred at Lakewood Church. As families gathered inside Lakewood Church on that Sunday afternoon, Genesee Moreno entered the building with an AR-15 weapon and her small son. Moreno suddenly opened fire inside the church, causing panic and terror among the parishioners. However, authorities have not established the reason for the incident. She was able to gravely injure her own 7-year-old kid by shooting him during the assault. Due to severe brain damage, he was taken to the hospital immediately and is still in critical condition. The gunfire also injured another individual in the congregation. 2 off-duty police officers acting as church security quickly intervened before Moreno could do more damage. The horrifying scenario came to an end when they confronted the shooter and finally shot and killed her. The whole Lakewood Church community was rocked by the occurrence. There are still a lot of unanswered issues as investigators continue their investigation. It's still unclear why the woman did what she did, and authorities haven't confirmed whether there were any overarching reasons. But one thing is for sure. Joel Osteen and the congregation he has headed for so many years faced a significant difficulty at this time. Although he is accustomed to being in the public eye, this time it was for a distressing incident that put the principles he espouses to the test. Following the event, Joel Osteen felt compelled to come forward and re-establish a connection with his community at such a distressing moment. Let's learn how he decided to comfort his people and provide them with compassionate and faith-based guidance during the storm. A week following the occurrence on February 11th, Lakewood Church hosted a special service that was solely about healing. It wasn't your typical Sunday get-together. The goal was obvious this time: to reassert a message of faith over fear, provide support to those who were shocked, and console the families of the victims. Joel Osteen addressed the crowd as a leader attempting to help his community deal with loss, rather than as a well-known pastor. His message was one of hope, reminding everyone that faith can be a source of strength even during difficult times. The incident's impact extended much beyond the boundaries of the church. The small youngster who was hurt still bears the most tragic scar. He still faces long-term recovery problems and is in critical condition. People from all throughout the nation are deeply concerned and sympathetic to his situation. His family has endured severe trauma, and as a result, they are now the main target of assistance initiatives in Houston and beyond. The emotional burden was also felt by the neighborhood surrounding Lakewood Church. Seeing a moment they never expected to experience in a peaceful setting left several members feeling extremely frightened. The catastrophe had an international impact. A sizable international religious community is among the audience of Lakewood Church, which is well known throughout the world. People from many nations, faiths, and cultures sent in waves of love, sympathy, and support. Viewers who adhere to Joel Osteen's ideas, religious institutions, and faith leaders all offered consoling and uplifting remarks. The Lakewood community was reminded that they were not alone in their suffering by this display of support. Moments of bravery were interspersed with the grief. Heroism was bestowed upon the 2 off-duty officers who responded to the tragedy. They took prompt measures to keep things from getting worse. Numerous people have praised their courage for preventing more damage and saving lives. Their contribution during the crisis has become a symbol of commitment and selflessness, and their efforts have been publicly recognized. Joel Osteen was aware that he had a crucial duty to assess and improve the church's security procedures, in addition to comforting the community. Over 45,000 people visit Lakewood Church every week, and it was no longer able to depend on standard safety protocols. Significant protection gaps were revealed by the sad event, and it became evident that immediate improvements were required. The event brought up issues that extended beyond the behavior of a single person. The individual in question, Janesse Moreno, has a history of schizophrenia. She was able to lawfully obtain firearms in spite of her mental illness. This has spurred national discussions about access to firearms, mental health, and oversight mechanisms designed to stop these kinds of incidents. Now, a lot of people are curious about how someone with a known mental condition could get around the current protections. It has turned into a very alarming illustration of how the legal and medical systems can be ineffective in communicating. Joel Osteen and Lakewood Church immediately turned their focus to making sure that this kind of behavior never happened again. Church leaders thoroughly reviewed all current safety procedures in the days after the tragedy. Although off-duty police were already part of Lakewood's weekly security presence, the incident's scope demonstrated that more extensive safeguards were required for a site with such great public awareness. Osteen reevaluated risk locations across the church campus in collaboration with professional security specialists and local law enforcement. Increasing the number of certified security guards on duty during services and special events was one of the first steps. These new hires included experts with backgrounds in crowd safety and emergency response, in addition to law enforcement officials. Their presence was intended to offer both outward protection and preparation for what might happen behind the scenes. Policies for entry were also examined. Despite Lakewood's reputation as a friendly and open place, the team implemented new entrance point, monitoring, and bag check policies. Upgraded surveillance systems can now cover more ground with greater clarity and respond to alerts more quickly. These adjustments were thoughtfully made to add the required levels of security while preserving the welcoming atmosphere that guests have come to expect. Furthermore, Lakewood Church started collaborating with mental health specialists to teach its employees how to spot distressing or odd behavior before it gets out of hand. This increased awareness wasn't limited to security personnel. It also applied to volunteers, ushers, and greeters, people who have weekly, close interactions with guests. Osteen also participated in campaigns to promote improved communication about high-risk individuals across law enforcement and healthcare institutions. Osteen understood the power his platform carries. Even though the church cannot affect national legislation, he raised awareness of the need for more intelligent preventative measures by openly endorsing enhanced reporting avenues and system checks. Joel Osteen has a family and a personal life, in addition to his church duties and public obligations, and there has been increasing pressure on that aspect of his life lately. His private life has presented him with unforeseen difficulties and even heartbreaking news behind the scenes. Let's examine what he has been going through in secret, away from the public eye. Joel Osteen is a husband, father, and family man, in addition to being the leader of one of the biggest churches in the world. Along with his spouse, Victoria Osteen, and their 2 kids, Alexandra and Jonathan, he resides in Houston, Texas. His ideals of peace, faith, and family harmony are reflected in their home, which has always been a haven. However, a slew of extremely upsetting incidents in Osteen's personal life in recent months have left him dealing with both emotional and physical difficulties. One of the saddest stories surfaced in September 2024, when it was reported that multiple members of the extended family had been killed in a house fire in Houston. Early reports from internet sources stated that a niece and a cousin were among the victims. His fans were saddened by the news, which swiftly went viral on social media. However, the story was not verified by prominent local publications like the Houston Chronicle. Although there might have been a fire event involving Osteen family members, neither Joel's nor Lakewood Church's official records or statements confirmed the devastating details. Consequently, the episode continues to be shrouded in mystery and conjecture. The emotional impact of such claims, even if they are partially or completely unsubstantiated, adds to the mounting pressure Osteen has been under over the past year, even in the absence of proven information. It can be difficult to deal with grief, or even the rumors of it, particularly if it is lived in the spotlight. Joel Osteen apparently had a medical problem in October 2024, which made matters worse. Online reports state that he had an unexpected health issue and was taken to a hospital in Houston. Many of his followers expressed their concern and sent prayers and well wishes via social media. Despite the fact that no official diagnosis or reason was disclosed, although the incident's specifics are still unknown, Osteen later returned to his public duties, indicating that he had healed. One theme emerges from all of these difficulties. Behind the scenes, Osteen's life has not been simple. Although he maintains a calm and polished public persona, it is clear that he has experienced moments of anxiety, uncertainty, and possible loss just like everyone else. These incidents have put his determination to the test in genuine and intimate ways for someone whose message is so focused on perseverance in the face of adversity. His resilience and leadership have been put to the test during the past year. Joel Osteen has always advocated for the need of maintaining one's composure during life's ups and downs, and he is a living example of those same ideas. Even though the difficulties don't always garner media attention, they provide one of the most prominent spiritual leaders in America a more personal side. When more terrible rumors about Joel Osteen started to circulate, he was already coping with waves of unsubstantiated rumors and emotional strain. The rumors hit even harder this time, tempting the boundary between conjecture and grief. The widely misreported news of Joel Osteen's own death was possibly the most odd and emotionally upsetting of his many personal and public setbacks. False stories on his health, and even survival, have proliferated online in recent months, leaving his millions of admirers perplexed, alarmed, and afraid. In addition to shocking his devoted followers, these death hoaxes brought up important issues regarding the spread of false information and its potential harm. Joel Osteen tragically died in a plane crash, according to a report that started making the rounds on social media and obscure websites on December 2024. According to the source, Osteen was traveling to a missionary function overseas when the incident happened. It provided precise information, including the flight path, the number of passengers, and even a purported police statement, with headlines declaring that the world had lost one of its most well-known religious leaders. The tale quickly gained traction, but hours after the article was published, it was evident that the report was completely untrue. The story was promptly verified as a total fabrication by major news organizations like the Associated Press. There were no flight logs, no official declarations, and neither Osteen's family nor Lakewood Church provided any confirmation. Joel Osteen was actually still alive and was spotted taking part in his usual weekend duty a few days after the allegation surfaced. Another report from September 2024 that implied Osteen's daughter, Victoria, had been hurt in an accident added to the whirlpool of stories. No reliable news source ever picked up or verified the story, which only appeared on specialized websites. The Osteen family did not answer this in a statement, and the story was not backed up by any public or medical data. It's still unclear if there was an incident, but the narrative is firmly in the area of conjecture due to the lack of confirmation. Unfortunately, that was not the end of the misleading narratives. Another batch of rumors started making the rounds in June 2025, stating once more that Osteen had perished in a severe auto accident. Even though the sources were dubious and the wording was ambiguous, the headlines were sufficient to start yet another round of internet conjecture. This report was also shown to be inaccurate, just as the previous one. Although Osteen had to be hospitalized after being in a car accident, her injuries were not life-threatening. After receiving treatment, he ultimately resumed his regular activities. However, the incident served as a reminder of how easily a lack of correct information may cause perplexity to escalate into fear. The emotional toll that disinformation can have on the subject and their audience is what unites all of these stories. In addition to the mistake itself, being the center of fake death claims is not only upsetting for Joel Osteen, a spiritual leader who is renowned for providing serenity in times of crisis, but it may also divert him from his mission of helping millions of people and helping them navigate their own challenges. Joel Osteen appeared to be enmeshed in a never-ending web of circulating rumors and incorrect information up until this point. Then he experienced yet another catastrophe, and it wasn't a fake this time. It was unavoidable, painful, and real. Joel Osteen was caught up in a very genuine and agonizing tragedy in June 2025. This tragedy had been subtly affecting his family for about 20 years. This time, they cited a reopened murder case involving Johnny Daniel, his 84-year-old great-aunt, whose unresolved death in 2006 had left a deep scar on the family's history. Now that detectives have returned, the case is once more being examined, and the increased attention has raised difficult concerns as well as emotional upheaval. When Johnny Daniel, a lifelong Houston resident and Joel Osteen's relative, was discovered dead under strange circumstances in 2006, the case got underway. The situation was particularly upsetting because she was 84. A suspect was swiftly identified by authorities, and he was taken into custody soon after the incident. But what came next was a convoluted and seriously faulty legal process. The culprit was apprehended, but a formal court trial never took place. Weak DNA evidence and what many now believe to be inadequate case management by prosecutors and law enforcement are the causes. The case eventually died. The suspect was effectively detained for almost 18 years without a trial, but he was never formally found guilty. Concerns regarding the justice of this prolonged detention were voiced by advocacy organizations and legal professionals, particularly in light of the paucity of solid forensic evidence linking the individual to the crime. Civil rights organizations and legal watchdogs have criticized this extended incarceration without a settlement. The families of Daniel and Osteen were greatly affected by the unresolved case. Joel Osteen rarely discussed his worldwide ministry in public, but the silent anguish of a family member's violent and unsolved death persisted in the background. The case then took a sharp turn in early June 2025. The file was formally reopened by investigators in the hopes that new forensic technology and renewed interest might lead to answers. The Independent said that the decision to re-examine the case followed calls to re-examine cold cases throughout Texas and fresh legal evaluations of evidence that had been handled unlawfully. After years of legal struggles, the suspect was released from prison in late 2024. But he is still a major focus of the reopened inquiry. But this time, authorities are adopting a more comprehensive strategy. They are talking to former witnesses once more, going over the complete original case file, and re-evaluating all forensic evidence using the most recent testing techniques. In addition to securing justice for Johnny Daniel, the objective is to rectify historical legal mistakes. Since then, the Osteen family's relationship and the story's wider ramifications for the legal system have drawn attention from both local and national media outlets. Many consider it a violation of due process when someone is detained for almost 20 years without being given a chance to defend themselves. Who killed Johnny, however, is still a mystery to the Daniel family. Joel Osteen has not commented publicly on the case as the inquiry continues. It seems sense that this is a very personal issue for him, and that it touches on a traumatic period in his family's past. However, the case brings up more significant issues regarding delayed justice and the impact that unresolved crimes can have on families decades after they occur. Joel Osteen has so far escaped the chaos. Anyone may have been alarmed by the unfounded death rumors, the made-up tales of family tragedy, and the increased scrutiny that surrounded his leadership following the Lakewood Church event. However, Osteen, who is renowned for advocating for composure in the face of mayhem, has subtly remained present and kept up his leadership. Despite his own periods of uncertainty, he resumed his normal preaching schedule, continued to appear at community gatherings, and intensified his message of spiritual optimism. Osteen appears to be concentrating on fortifying the foundation he has already established. One of the most significant churches in the world is still his, Lakewood. His online presence is still strong, and millions of people continue to watch his television broadcasts. In the years to come, his publishing, speaking, and digital media endeavors are probably going to expand even further outside of the pulpit. More significantly, though, Joel Osteen appears ready to develop not only as a pastor, but also as a leader who has survived the fire and emerged stronger. He may now approach his mission with even greater empathy and understanding after overcoming both private suffering and public disinformation. His works, sermons, and interpersonal connections with his audience may all demonstrate this development. Lakewood Church security improvements, his family's wellness programs, and a renewed emphasis on community healing are all anticipated to continue to be priorities. Osteen will probably continue to move through the revived inquiry into the murder of his great-aunt in the background, keeping his family near and his public focus unambiguous, while doing so gently and respectfully. What will Joel Osteen do next? More of his strongest suit. Leading with faith, navigating adversity with grace, and demonstrating that purpose doesn't diminish, but rather grows through real-life hardships. How do you feel about Joel Osteen overcoming these obstacles? Leave a comment with your ideas.